Yeah, it was tough, like you said, and I think both of us we fought hard. There were some great rallies, and I think Emilio played great, and I was happy with my level. He came out firing from both the forehand and the backhand, was serving well and playing very aggressive. And obviously, it's tough in the first rounds of a slam when you're high seated, and whoever you play kind of can play all freely with their shoulders down and nothing to lose really. So the pressure is obviously on the seeded one, and as a seeded player you feel a little more pressure and you have everything to lose against someone who's younger, can play freely and play aggressive. And I'm very happy that I was able to win those 2 tie breaks and hold him back and not go into a 5th set.
Very good. Thank you. Questions?
Hi, Casper. David Kane, Tennis.com. You probably would have wanted a few more matches this summer, so I'm just curious what your preparation was like coming into the tournament.
Yeah, it was for sure. I mean, it's summer and the whole year really, except for a couple of tournaments, have been earlier exits than I have hoped many times. So, but I think Grand Slam confidence-wise, I think I've maybe one of the players with higher confidence or believe in myself, due to the fact that the last year I've been in the finals a couple times, and I won some tough matches, some tough 4-setters, 5-setters, and I think I've proven myself and maybe others that I can be, I won't play perfect every match, but I can be somewhat of a kind of tough player to beat in a way, if I'm physically ready and mentally also prepared for a battle, which I think every 5-setter is. I think the mindset is more kind of to try to make it tough for the opponent to beat me in the best of 5-set match, other than playing flawless for 3 perfect sets. It's not always how it goes, and I think that was my mindset in the previous slams where I did well, and same this year. It's a long tournament, a long journey if you want to do well, but just got the first win, and that's nice. You get into this mood where it's just match day off if you do well, and I like it.
Chris?
Casper, Chris Otto with US Open. The lob at 6-5 in the 4-set breaker, you apologized for it, but it looked like you wanted to do it and you hit it pretty clean. Was it a mishit?
Kind of. Wasn't honestly what I aimed for. I was a bit surprised that he came to the net, so in a way I maybe wanted to try to do something somewhat of a passing, but then I was a little fortunate that I was somewhat of a miss hit, and then it kind of dipped down just inside the line to set up match point, and then he just answered with another great forehand cross just in the corner on the line. So I think we were both kind of back and forth, had margins there, but it was really nice just to see last forehand just sail along from his side and know that I'm on to the next match. And was it, like I said, a hard fought match and battle, and I'm happy with the level that I played, and I think I can build on this performance.
Richard?
That final was historic in a lot of ways last year for both you and Carlos. And just being a year away from it now, looking back, what was that experience like for you?
It was amazing at the time, and then coming back here, this year was a little more emotional than I thought, because when I came back to Roland Garros this year, I more felt like nerves, and I didn't have that many days on site before the tournament started. And here I was here for a week now, and first day I arrived, I was just kind of felt like yesterday in the way that we were here last year. And walking into the locker room, I wish I could have seen my name on the champions wall, except for his, obviously. And since it was the final that I at least feel like I was closest to win out of the 3 finals that I've reached, it stings a little more, but you can also use it as motivation to one day lift the trophy, and that's high words, of course, and high goals, but that's still my dream, still my biggest goal of my career, to win a Grand Slam. And I think I proved to myself yesterday that I can do better than I expect of myself sometimes. And every year I come back here at the US Open, I will know that I reached the final and was close at some point or before, and that will always be motivating in a way.
We good?
No, jump in.
Casper, can you talk about that confidence you alluded to? You're a guy who's got 3 Grand Slam finals out of the last 6. How much does that help you, especially against maybe a player like Emilio, who's not so experienced? It seemed like you were just waiting and knew you were going to have your chances in that match if you just hung around.
Yeah, it's sort of like what I said earlier, that it's hard to play perfect tennis for 3 sets and win 3 sets, with perfect tennis. So a match is going to go up and down. You'll face break points. You might get broken. You might break back and so on. So the most important is obviously to get through the first rounds and be physically fit and mentally also ready, because it's a long match. Every match, maybe you don't play 5 hours every match, but every match out there is longer than typical or usual for us, and that brings it's a whole kind of different vibe in a way in a 5 sets match. Obviously, you don't want to get off to a bad start, but you have more time to reel it back in if you lose the first set or so on. So a match that you normally would lose 2 sets to love, you can also turn around, and I think that's important to have experience. And I don't have the perfect record of turning a love to down match back to winning 3-2, but I've done it a couple times, and that also brings some kind of confidence to the table, knowing that I'm playing a younger guy, a little more unexperienced than myself, and he was really fast and probably fit enough to play 5 sets. That's not what I'm saying, but I think I just felt strong and in a way ready for a 5th set if we had to go there. And if we got into the 5th set, I would think about other matches that I've been able to win in 5 sets.
We'll take 2 more.
Speaking about Carlos and just how young he is, and just, are you surprised to see the kind of poise he has and what he's accomplished in this past year?
Yeah, it's gone fast, from just young teenager to best player in the world. It's quite a rise, and quite the timeline he's done it in is really, really impressive. And I remember seeing him for the first time live. I think was maybe Acapulco in 2021, if I'm not, could be earlier, but he was even younger and more unexperienced, and I remember talking to his coach Juanqui and congratulating him for winning a bunch of challenges that I'd done in the past, and he was awarded, I believe, a wild card to the tournament, which was very deserved. And then Juanqui is very humble, and he said, that thank you, but now let's see, this is a different level. I mean, we're gonna have to expect a couple more losses now, and that's kind of how it went there in Acapulco. At least he lost to Zverev quite not easy, I would say, but I think it was like 3-2 or 3-1 or something. Of course, he was really young, but when I saw him then the first time, I wouldn't imagine that a year and a half later we would play a Grand Slam final, because he was just so young. And yeah, he had great potential, but he was at least from what I saw back then, was a little unorganized. And then a couple of months later he beat me. He kicked my ass in Marbella in a tournament. So just from Acapulco 2021 until I played him, it's not a long time, and he just not gonna say he became a much better player, but he was just 2 different players there at least. And from there, and I just realized this guy's gonna be really good, and kind of changed my perception from one day to the other in a way, because I think it was only a couple of weeks or a month and a half between the 2 times I saw him for the first time and played him for the first time. So yeah, he's impressed me, he's impressed everyone, and he will be probably the player to beat for a long time.
David, last question in English.
Casper, I was wondering if I could ask you about your Twitter account. I guess it's called X now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think people think of you as being quite serious, but your Twitter presence is light and funny, and you engage a lot with fans.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what you make of the tennis Twitter community, and also how you're able to engage with them in the way that you do.
Yeah, it's this new, I guess, feed where you can put like for you, like not only, I don't follow that many people on Twitter or X, but you can get like content that is kind of based for you in a way, based on who you follow and what you've done in the past. So I read a bunch of these like so-called tennis experts and their opinions, and it's just insane. Like, it annoys me in a way, because it's just, I feel like if you haven't played professionally in the past, most of them have no clue what they're talking about. Like, their opinions, for fans, if anyone listens to what I'm saying, I mean, I would just not take more than maybe 5% of what so-called tennis experts on Twitter kind of say as good info, because it's just not the way it goes. And I could probably reply to many other things, but I just leave it because it's just interesting to see how people just exaggerate all the time on social media about anything. You know, you go from being the best player in the world to the worst player in the history from one week to another, and it's just not like, shouldn't be taken serious. But it's the new modern world, I guess, and it's sometimes I like to interact because, you know, I feel like sometimes my opinion could matter, but it's more, I have to be really annoyed to actually take the time to actually reply to someone. But yeah, it's a wicked place to spend too much time, I think, because also reading about yourself is not really nice always. So I don't know, I take it with a smile, but sometimes I guess I can't control myself, and it's easy to kind of communicate to either fans or haters, if you want to call them that. So it's worth it sometimes, but it can be dangerous to spend too much time there. That's for sure.